to the entertainment Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and today is the big day at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Joe Judge will have his first press conference as a New York Giant, and I cannot wait to watch it. I cannot wait to cover it afterwards. I'll definitely have a video up on that, recapping what he had to say about the job, why he took the job, what his plans are going forward. And the former special teams coordinator seems to have the backing of most Giants fans. And I'm going to be honest with you. When this hiring was first announced, I was incredibly nervous that Giants fans were going to go in an uproar. Obviously, based on his resume, he's young, he's unproven, and I get it. I absolutely get it. I get why people would want a McCarthy, a Rivera, even a Matt Rule, who I wanted first. But you got to give this guy a chance. And the media always tries to stir us up. They always do. That's what they do to New York sports fans. In my video about Joe Judge, I talked about Kristaps Porzingis because if you remember correctly, when he was drafted, the camera flashed to a kid crying, bawling. They do it every year with the Knicks in the draft, and they do the same thing with the Giants because they know that's what sells stories. They know that people love drama and they love controversy, and New York sports fans are reactionary. We just are by nature because we love our teams and we want to win at all costs, and I get it. Especially when most Giants fans are Yankee fans. They expect excellence at all times, and you should. We're the New York Giants. We're one of the best franchises in the history of the sport, but I keep reiterating, we need to be patient. We need to get behind this coach because if we want sustained success, if we want long-term success, you can't keep flipping coaches every year or two. And one thing I was really happy about, it seems like, a lot of my subscribers looked at the Mike Francesa interview, and if you went and looked at it, when he talked about Joe Judge after I made mine, he had a lot of the talking points I did, and maybe that is what helped some Giants fans come around. I don't know, but all I ask is for you guys to give this guy a chance. And what this video is about is some of the quotes that came out that were incredibly encouraging after the New York Giants announced that Joe Judge will be the head coach officially yesterday when he signed on the dotted line. We saw quotes from Nick Saban, his former boss. We saw quotes from Bill Belichick. I pulled up a quote from Mara that was incredibly encouraging. Gettleman had a quote. I didn't pull that one up, but that was a great quote as well. Shawn O'Hara talked about the whole process and how impressed the New York Giants were, and I'm going to talk about it all in this video. And I'm confident that Joe Judge at least has the capabilities of being a good head coach. Obviously, I'm going to continue to cover this, and I'm going to talk about the coordinators and everything else as rumors start to circulate. I've read some rumors that he already has a plan in place for his offensive staff. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, but it seems as if this is going to be a collaboration. It seems as if Joe Judge is going to get a lot of say in who he brings in for his staff, and I think that's important because you want this kid who's only 38 years old to be comfortable and to be confident in his ability to have success here with the New York Giants. After all, he's coming in with a lot of pressure, right? We've gotten rid of coach after coach after coach, and the fans jump down your throat after a year or two. It's not the most welcoming spot because we expect results and we expect them fast. And hopefully Joe Judge can deliver that for us. But all I ask you guys, give this guy a fair shake. Don't write him off after a year. Don't write him off before the season even starts. Got to give this guy a real shot. See what he can do with the staff he puts in place, what they do in the draft, what they do in free agency. I'm sure there's going to be an extensive plan because this guy is a very smart candidate. He knows what he's doing, and we'll see if they can figure it out. But let's jump into some of the quotes of what was said about Joe Judge, the new head coach of the New York Giants. And I'm going to start with what Shawn O'Hara said. When I read this, I'm going to tell you, man, I got excited. He says, talking about the Giants, blown away with the interview, O'Hara said on the Giants meeting with Judge. Blown away with Joe Judge. At 38 years old, how enamored he was in the interview. The youthful exuberance and the plan. The plan to take one of the youngest rosters in the NFL that has been built by Dave Gettleman through the draft and with the salary cap purges over the last couple of years, and to take that young pup roster. I say young pup a lot. And to say, you know what? We're going to change the course of this franchise because we're going to get back to playing physical football. And as a Giants fan, you should welcome that, and that should get you pumped up. That's what you want to hear. Here's the next quote I pulled up. This is what Joe Judge said when taking the New York Giants job. I am humbled and honored, Judge said. I want to thank John Mara, Steve Tisch, Dave Gettleman, and Kevin Abrams for this opportunity. Over the past couple of days, we had great conversations about where this team is and where it is headed and how we are going to get there. My job is to lead our players and coaches. The mission is clear, to win games. There is a process to reaching that objective, and we will implement that process and work that process starting today. Another thing I wanted to point out that I should have said at the beginning of the interview, Pat McAfee brought up a great point in his video about special teams coordinators, special teams coaches, and I thought it was brilliant. Those coaches should be looked at more for head coaching jobs because those coaches' jobs is to motivate the guys that are at the bottom of the roster, the 47th, 48th guys, as he was quoted, on the roster, right? To get them to perform. It's easy to try to get guys to perform when they're going to make $6, $7, $8 million if they post some stats, but he gets these guys that are nearly unemployed and he gets them to perform at a high level, and that's exactly what he did for the New England Patriots. He was arguably the best special teams coordinator in the sport when you talk to anyone in that organization. Here's the next quote I want to pull up. This was what John Mara and Steve Tisch had to say about the new head coach, Joe Judge. This was the deepest group of quality candidates I can recall, and Joe is as impressive as a candidate as I have interviewed, Mara said. We met with Joe on Monday, and we did have some other candidates lined up to speak with, but Joe had established the threshold at this point. He knows what winning looks like and should look like. His exposure and experience in New England and Alabama have helped shape his philosophy of building a winning program and culture. We are thankful that he has accepted the responsibility to lead our team. Then Steve Tisch said, we had a great conversation. And Joe articulated his vision of leadership and team building, Tisch said. He clearly learned some valuable lesson in both those areas while working with Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. He is an impressive young leader, and as we said last week, he will have the full support of ownership to get us where we want to be. And then this was a quote by Saban. Joe has done an outstanding job, Belichick rather. Joe has done an outstanding job, Belichick said. He's an excellent worker. He understands the game well, works extremely hard, and is a very good teacher of fundamentals. Joe picks up concepts and coaching points quickly. He is an exceptional leader and one of the best coaches I have been around. He has been responsible for coaching units comprised of nearly every player on the roster. That requires an ability to handle many moving parts, make constant adjustments, and immediate decisions. I appreciate Joe's many contributions to our staff and team and wish him well. And I think that is a point that not enough people are talking about. This guy was able to mold guys that's what the Patriots do so well. And that's what Bill Belichick finds. He finds guys that are able to get the most out of their players. And that is what Joe Judge did with this team. And that is what we hope he could do with the New York Giants. And then finally, the last one I wanted to pull up was from Nick Saban, arguably the best college coach in the country, who he worked for 3 years as a special teams assistant. Joe did a fantastic job for our program early on in our tenure in Tuscaloosa, Saban said. He went on to have a lot of success on Bill's staff in New England. Joe is one of the brightest young coaches in our profession, and I think he will do a tremendous job as the head coach of the New York Giants. They are getting an extremely smart football coach who is very loyal, organized, and diligent about getting the job done. We wish Joe and his entire family the best of luck with the Giants. And you know what, guys? If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. There's going to be some people that are down on this guy no matter what. They're going to say, how could you take this guy? He's inexperienced. I gave you a laundry list of coaches that didn't have the most of experience yesterday. And you know what? If you're a Giants fan, you have nothing. You have no choice. You have to hope this works out. And it's certainly possible it can. I mean, who are you going to choose to listen to at this point? Are you going to listen to the talking heads on ESPN who try to stir you up every chance they get? The Stephen A. Smiths of the world, who Max Kellermans of the world, whoever else, in the mainstream media? Or are you going to listen to guys who have been very successful in their professions? You're talking about the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, in my opinion, in Bill Belichick, who gave this guy a great recommendation. And yes, you could point to that there have been failures from the Patriots in the past, but Flores looks pretty damn good right now. And a lot of that may have to do with the situations that they took in. You got to give this guy a chance. Are you going to listen to Nick Saban, arguably the greatest college coach of all time, or certainly up there, at least in recent history? So if those two guys are on board with the hire, if they're saying the things that they're saying, if Mara's saying he's never been more impressed in an interview. Shawn O'Hara is saying that the team was blown away by this kid, a 38-year-old kid. This guy, to my knowledge, he's probably never interviewed for a head coaching job. And he went in there and he knocked their socks off. He was the underdog. He wasn't on the radar by most Giants fans. And I'll tell you what, If he didn't have an A+++ interview, he would have never gotten this job. So maybe there's something to this kid. And we're going to find out today what he has to say to the media. Cannot wait to hear the press conference. Cannot wait to cover it. I'm also going to be live with Bad Dog Sports tonight on his channel, recapping the interview, talking about the Giants, the future of Joe Judge, the future of the coaching staff, free agency, the whole bit. So I cannot wait to do that tonight as well on Bad Dog Sports' channel, so be sure to check that out. And yeah, we got a new era. It's the Joe Judge era. We've moved on from Pat Shurmur. It's an era of excitement and promise and hope, and we don't know what's coming. But we got to give it a chance. We got to let it play out, and hopefully Joe Judge is our guy. And I'm fully behind him. Cannot wait to see this interview. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.